Ladies and gentlemen, Victor Wembanyama is truly unstoppable, and I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but I'm being very serious. How do you stop someone who basically has a magnet on the rim that pulls the ball in on this ridiculous shot? Someone who doesn't even have to jump to bank it in over you, and then for the most gut-wrenching one of all, someone who can just grab your shot out the air with ease. Now what if I told you that at the beginning of the NBA season, there were people that didn't think he'd amount to being as good as people were saying, and even said he was overrated? Like yeah, he did start off a little shaky as he had to adjust to the game, but as of now, he's showing everyone why he belongs in the NBA and that he's just as good as advertised and maybe even better. You tell me, how many 7'4" guys are able to get down the court, catch in stride, and then adjust their body in midair to avoid the contact to convert the layup? Yeah, not many guys his size can do that. And when you look at how many ways Wemby can influence the course of a game, it honestly gets ridiculous. With his height that just towers over other guys, on these offensive rebounds, he can simply slap it off the backboard to himself to then gather it with his left hand and then fade away from the defense while everyone watches. You have to make sure that you stick two guys to him or don't allow a much smaller guy to box him out, because these tips to himself become a piece of cake and now he can bank it off the glass. That length of his just gives him a major advantage on both ends of the floor, making him a nightmare to deal with on any given night. He can turn around to pin that ball on the rim as you go up with ease, and then immediately on the other end of the floor, he can catch the lob over the top of the defense for the flush. If you allow him to see any daylight on these fast breaks, well, it's pretty much a done deal, because Wemby already has the height in his favor, and then when you pair that with his 8-foot wingspan, it takes things to another level. For his teammates, all they have to do is get the ball in the vicinity of where he's at, and Wemby will take care of the rest. Just like that play versus Utah, Wemby can totally obliterate GG Jackson's drive here, and when the lob gets thrown to him, look at where the ball is, look at where he takes off from, and look at the slam. Yeah, stuff like that is crazy to see, and it's not just the simple fact that he can be a lob threat on the break, because when he's used in that pick and roll action, if he gets the smaller guy switched onto him, then it's basically like a free shot in close, as Wembanyama doesn't see anyone. And trust me, it's not just guards that he'll pick on, as he'll make the 6'8" Okongwu look teeny tiny. With such length and height, it gives his teammates the ultimate relief option as they can throw it to him at any time, and for that matter, anywhere. And even when it seems like Devin Vassell is in no man's land here versus the Kings, he just throws it off the backboard so Wemby can catch and drop it in. It's just too many advantages that length gives him, to where we see plays where he can split the defense and then lob it off the backboard to himself, to then plays where he can test the shot on the 3-point line, and when you get the offensive rebound, he can jump from the middle of the paint to stretch out and smash it off the glass. You must be aware of where Wemby is at all times, because just when you thought the pass cleared him and you have a gimme at the rim, he'll show you to think twice about that, and hey, even if you do think twice about it and start doing different moves to find the opening, Victor will show you not to try him and then embarrass you with yet another denial. His ability to reach out far and close the distance is absurd, so when you think he's not around, well, he'll rise out of nowhere to just knock it out the air. Since he can stay longer on the ball handler out these pick and rolls, this allows his teammates to get back, because when the pass is made, Wemby is able to turn, plant, and reach out to send this off the glass. I don't care what people have to say about it being easy for him to get these blocks because of his height and all that blah blah blah, because yeah, he does get these blocks that almost no one in the NBA currently gets normally, but when you take into account that people said he would get bullied a lot, not only can he absorb that contact that they said he couldn't, but he can jam you up in the air when you go up, and then if you try to bully him again, he'll hold his ground and show you that he's not to be played with. There was truly a lot of talks of him not going to be able to hold his own when it comes to bigger guys or contact down low, but it seems like it's the quite opposite, as guys like Zion try and avoid him instead of going into his body, but guess what? Victor still sends the shot back. Through 65 games, Wemby has averaged 3.4 blocks a night, which ranks him at 5th for the highest block per game average in a rookie season in NBA history. So yeah, try whatever you want, but if Wemby is around you, even if it's a jumper, he'll be able to get a hand on it. What's even more impressive though, is that he isn't one-dimensional with his length on the defensive side, as he can also use this to take away the ball from offensive players. On these pushes up the court, guys will cross one way to get the advantage on the defender usually, but when you're dealing with Wemby, his arms are so long that he makes his steal from LeBron look easy. It's no longer those times where you can be a little bit more relaxed or think you can get yourself out of sticky situations with ease, because once you're in that Wemby dungeon, finding your way out is almost impossible. Take this play here versus the Knicks. When Bogdanović attacks the rim, he gets worried about the Wemby block in midair, so he finds himself in a tight spot, and now Wemby can also track the ball when it's passed to take it away. His defensive instincts take away so many options for the offense, as he can knock away these pocket passes out the roll, recover back to you to make a sandwich with the backboard, and then welcome all that contact to then humble you on the shot attempt. All these tools in his kit that we talked about boost his offensive game tremendously, and to be honest, it's hard to choose which side of the ball he will be more valuable on, because as good as he is on defense and will become, his offensive talent is arguably limitless. If he's feeling it, then he'll just pull up from deep with one leg to drain the shot. If you place him in that pick and roll, then he can move fluidly with the spin off the screen and then spin off again to catch the ball to lay it in. When he decides to face up out that post, well, it's hard to defend because he can just scoop the lay in right past you for the and one. If you send that double at him, then he can wrap the pass around you to find one of his teammates to the rim. And then even when he has to work out that in-between area, Wemby has no issue knocking down the tough jumper. Honestly, pick your poison of how you want Wemby to pick you apart offensively, because he's so confident in his game that he'll just take whatever the defense gives him. When defenders decide they're not going to step all the way out on him, well, Wemby will just rise up to drain it in their face. And if you watch here versus the Jazz, when Collins goes under the screen, this is truly all the space Wemby needs to get a clean look at the basket. He already can see over just about everyone in the NBA, so giving him space is probably the last thing you want to do, but the bright thing about Wemby is that even if you are up on him, he has a sturdy enough handle to create space for the shot. Showing off that James Harden-like size up here, it's crazy to see someone of his stature move like this and then finish it off with a step back to seal the deal. Since most defenders don't think he can move smooth with the ball like that, they'll tend to get shook like Turner does here off the sham guy behind the back combo, so now when he's caught underneath that screen, it's straight cash. When he's showcasing that handle into these shots, it's honestly like something straight out of a video game. Because how often is it that we see a guy that is 7'4", 7'5", doing the things we see like this on the basketball court? Yeah, really not so often. It doesn't matter if it's a big he has to shake and bake before rising up for the J, a smaller defender who he can just pull up right over, or if he gets pushed over to then get back up and knock it down, Wemby's 3-point spacing can be huge for the Spurs. It's not often you get someone who can spot up from the outside and shoot threes off the catch, but then also be able to bring it up the court and then pull up from 30 feet. With him being so confident and not afraid of the moment, this gives the Spurs more flexibility within the offense, because when using Wemby as a screener, not only can he pop off and let it fly from deep if needed, but also if you let him get behind you for even the slightest moment, then it's a lob right over your head. When two defenders attack the ball handler, allowing Wemby to be free, this is one of the worst things you can do, because now it's just Wemby and the rim in mind, so whoever is in his way will get detonated on. And then if your defense gets collapsed and you forget about him on the 3-point line, well, it's easy money. His movement without the ball is one of the brightest things about his game if you actually pay close attention. I know people might like the flashy dunks, the 3-pointers, and the handles and blocks, but when you see someone be able to navigate through traffic without the ball in their hands to get an easy bucket, it says a lot about that player. When you look at Wemby, you wouldn't think off first glance that he would be an elusive player off ball, but trust me, he definitely is. He's exceptional at noticing when his man is asleep, so as Draymond is ball watching Chris Paul get broken off, Wemby is already moving out to the 3-point line, and by the time Green gets there, it's far too late. It's almost like he's running American football routes out there, because when he stunts one way to go back the other just catching Brooks off guard, it's like he soars in for the touchdown when catching this sideline out of bounds lob. Having the skill to notice the openings and when to move to them is key to be successful in the league, and to see this from a rookie is rather amazing. Since he can maneuver off ball so well, guys will try to stay tight on him and even jam him up, but remember that word I used earlier? Wemby is elusive when it comes to getting open, so that's when you see Giannis get broken like a Kit Kat and Wemby gets to slam at the rack. You honestly can't try and overplay him, because that's when all things go wrong with him sliding right past you and the alley-oop connection is underway. His presence in the inside is one of the most daunting things the defense has to deal with on any given night. Most teams will live with his 3-point shooting and even anticipate that he will get some nice blocks, but stopping him from scoring inside is only going to get harder and harder. In the restricted area, Wemby has converted 72% of his 349 attempts, which puts him in the 79th percentile, with league average being 66%. And even if we're to bring it out just a little further away, with all shots less than 5 feet, Wemby has connected on 68% of his 393 attempts, so it's safe to say that when he gets around the rim, it can get pretty scary. You may think he's going to post up and catch the ball right here, but this is all just a decoy as he knows the backside is open, so once he spins off you, there's really nothing you or anyone else can do. But hey, let's say he does post you up, well, when he spins around to see the double coming his way, he can opt into that fade from the mid-range for the butterball. It's really no joke when it comes to him working out that post or catching it inside, because when he's right there staring at the rim, even if you do throw contact at him, he can focus all the way through to bank it in for the and one. And even if the defense does show some resistance with letting him get in close, he can use that one-handed push shot right over them to still grab the 2 points. All the ways Wemby can get to a spot on the floor makes him nearly unguardable. Since when do you see 7'4" guys be able to put it on the deck so comfortably to go get a bucket inside? And if you watch on this play right here, it may not seem like it because how tall he is, but Wemby is able to get low while ripping through, which makes the defender open up and then slam it all over them. This right here is just nasty if you ask me. Some of you may agree with me and some of you may not, but one thing we all can agree on is that Wemby is a special talent who is destined to be great.